What if you were thrown into hell and still found meaning? No food, no freedom, no dignity, stripped of everything except your thoughts. How do you survive that? Not just with your body, but with your mind intact? Viktor Frankl, a man who endured the Nazi concentration camps, didn't just survive. He came out stronger, wiser, unbroken. This is not just a story of survival. It's a masterclass in mental resilience. And if you feel like life is too comfortable, too empty, too pointless, this might be exactly what you need to hear. In 1942, Viktor Frankl, a Jewish psychiatrist in Vienna, was deported to Theresienstadt concentration camp. He had just turned down a visa to escape the Nazis. Why? Because he didn't want to abandon his aging parents. That single decision would lead him through 4 different concentration camps, including Auschwitz. He lost his wife, his brother, and his parents. Everything he loved, gone. The camps were designed to erase your humanity. Prisoners were given a number, beaten for no reason, forced to work until they collapsed. Death wasn't an event, it was a constant presence, a background hum of horror. But amid this darkness, Frankl noticed something strange. Some people gave up and died. Others somehow held on. He wanted to understand why. Frankl realized that survival wasn't about strength. It wasn't about intelligence. It was about something deeper, meaning. He wrote, "Those who have a why to live can bear almost any how." Friedrich Nietzsche. This idea became the foundation of his life's work. Logotherapy. The belief that the primary drive in human beings is not pleasure or power, but meaning. Frankl watched prisoners waste away when they felt life had no purpose. But those who believed they had something left to do, someone to see, a book to write, a God to serve, survived longer. He noticed that even in starvation, torture, and despair, if a person could hold on to a reason, even just in their mind, they gained power that the guards couldn't take. Meaning, not comfort, was the key to human endurance. This wasn't just theory, it was his reality. In Auschwitz, Frankl faced a moment that could have broken any man. One day, standing in the freezing cold, stripped naked, he was beaten with a whip. His body trembled, his ribs were visible, and yet, somehow, his mind rose above it. He imagined himself giving a lecture after the war. He pictured standing before students, describing the psychological experience of a concentration camp. In that moment, he wasn't just a prisoner, he was a teacher, a witness, a soul with purpose. He later wrote, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way." While others cursed their fate, Frankl trained his attention on the smallest sparks of humanity. He helped lift fellow prisoners emotionally, even when he had nothing material to give. He remembered sunsets, snowflakes falling on the barbed wire, the face of his wife. He created a world of meaning inside his mind, and that world saved him. That inner freedom became his anchor. What Frankl discovered goes against everything the modern world teaches. Today, we're told to chase happiness, to avoid discomfort, to do what feels good. But Frankl found meaning in the worst pain imaginable. He wasn't chasing comfort. He was facing reality and choosing to rise anyway. In that sense, Frankl wasn't just a psychologist. He was a philosopher of the human spirit. He echoed existential thinkers like Søren Kierkegaard, who once said, "Life is not a problem to be solved, but a reality to be experienced." Frankl saw that life didn't owe him anything, not even survival, but it did offer him a choice. Will you give up or give meaning? And this choice, this responsibility, is what made him free even inside a prison camp. He believed that freedom isn't the absence of suffering. It's the ability to take a stand, even in suffering. This is the core of existential responsibility, that no matter how brutal life gets, we are still responsible for what we make of it. And for Frankl, even death wasn't the worst thing. It was dying with your soul already gone. Now let's talk about you. You're not in a concentration camp. You're probably watching this on a phone, in a warm room, with food in your fridge. But somehow, you're still suffering, not physically, mentally, spiritually. You wake up unmotivated, You scroll for hours. You wonder what the point is. You feel anxious, bored, numb. This is what Frankl would call the existential vacuum, a sense of emptiness that creeps in when life feels meaningless. You might think you're depressed. Maybe you are. But maybe you're just unchallenged. Frankl warned that in a world of comfort, people don't flourish. They rot. Because without meaning, we fall into despair, even if everything looks fine. We're not built for endless leisure. We're built to struggle toward something. Not away from pain, but toward purpose. So when life feels pointless, that's a signal. Not to escape, but to confront. To take responsibility for your direction. To answer this question, what is demanding something from me right now? Because that question, what is required of me, is often the path to meaning. Frankl said meaning comes in three ways: through work or deeds, building something that matters; through love, caring deeply for someone beyond yourself; through suffering, transforming unavoidable pain into growth. If you're not experiencing at least one of these, the void will creep in. Here's the truth Frankl understood better than almost anyone alive. You don't find meaning. You decide it. You give your suffering a reason. You assign purpose to your pain. You take your scars and say, this will not be wasted. Frankl said, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. You can't control the past. You can't control what hurt you. But you can choose what you do now. That's your power. That's your freedom. Meaning isn't handed to you. It's claimed. It doesn't come from a perfect job or a dream relationship or some viral moment of clarity. It comes from daily, often boring, sacrifices towards something worth your time. It's what makes you pick up the phone and apologize. It's what makes you write even when no one's reading. It's what makes you train when no one's watching. Meaning isn't glamorous, but it's the only thing strong enough to keep you alive when life collapses. If Frankl could survive Auschwitz by finding meaning, what excuse do we have? We don't need to suffer the way he did to practice the principles he lived by. But we do need to stop running from discomfort. Every time you numb your anxiety with distraction, you're stepping away from your potential. Every time you avoid the hard conversation, the tough decision, the painful truth, you're drifting. Discipline starts by confronting what you've been avoiding. Not with a scream, but with a quiet decision. I will not escape this moment. Want to be mentally tough? Start here. Do one hard thing each day that your future self will thank you for. Choose long-term meaning over short-term relief. See suffering not as a curse, but as a forge. Mental resilience is not built when everything is easy. It's built when you decide to stop feeling sorry for yourself and step into responsibility. You're not helpless. You're not a victim of your thoughts. You're the one who gives them direction. So ask yourself, what are you suffering for? Because if the answer is nothing, it's time to change that. Comfort is killing you slowly, but discomfort with meaning, that's where the soul comes alive. Viktor Frankl survived the worst nightmare humanity ever created and came out a stronger man. You don't need to go through hell to learn what he learned. You just need to stop waiting for life to feel good and start living for something worth enduring pain for. So, don't waste your suffering. Don't numb it. Transform it. Turn it into a reason to rise. Subscribe for more stories that awaken your inner strength. And remember, pain is not the enemy. Meaningless pain is. Choose meaning.